Welcome to the Making of Me podcast, where we explore the moments that shape who we have become. Today, we are joined by Willie Blake, high performance coach, speaker, podcast host, and a powerful voice for professionals who have faith behind all different. Diagnosed with dyslexia in the first grade, Willie spent years battling self-doubt, perfectionism, and pressure to keep up. But instead of letting that stories define him, he made decision he was going to live with, and he's doing so now. Now, Willie help entrepreneurs and career profession stop overthinking, build confidence, and take consistent actions using simple framework like the 2% rules and the GPS goal method. It's really a pleasure to have you on the show, Willie.
Oh, the pleasure's on mine, Arrow. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you, Willie. So, Willie, what were some of the challenges that shape you into who you are today?
Yeah, big major one is my dyslexia. Diagnosed in the first grade, and throughout my life, kids saw me different. The friends that I had were also individuals who were different kids, whether it was dyslexia, ADHD, autism, whatever it was. And just facing those with the challenges of always feeling like I needed extra time on test, being the last one to finish any homework, test, or essay, and just communicating. Speaking was very hard for me at the time, and being able to say what was on my mind without stuttering or communicating it well, it was hard. It was difficult. So
Wow.
those are some of the challenges that I faced.
Wow. So, was there a moment you stopped trying to hide it and decide to own it?
Yeah, I wish it was sooner. Like I really wish it was, but it wasn't until probably 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, where I started to really see what dyslexia was. Not just the you're going to read backwards and struggle with speaking out loud. Anything that you do is going to be subpar, always below average. The jobs you're going to get, you're not going to be a CEO. You're not going to be a business owner or be like one of the 1%ers up there. You're going to be working retail for the rest of your life. You're going to be working fast food. Nothing against those individuals. But it was just like the below average, that's where you're going to stay. It's not just that beginner job, that's where you're going to stay. And so it
Wow.
really just over from when I started back in 2018, from reading one book to 50 books, was that moment of I actually can do something. And it wasn't a jump to 50. I was like,
Yeah.
that's impossible. First and foremost, for someone who maybe before that read an average of one book. So I started just one book a month. Didn't seem too bad. And then went from that 12 to 40 to 50, and now
Oh,
consistently 60 books a year that I go through.
wow. That was really amazing and really impressive height for someone with dyslexia. And the fact that you were able to kind of walk around it and find a pattern to do this is really amazing. Um, so you say confidence is built, not born. What helped you to start building yours?
Like with confidence, you wouldn't know this if you talked to me today, but I was a shy kid. You talked with me, and it was just like my head was down, very mumbled words, and it was like, yeah, you talked to me, and the parents are like, oh, your kid must be so shy. Are you okay? Oh my goodness, I hated that when people did that. But it was the confidence. It came from my belief matching my actions and my words. So I believed I was good enough. I believed I was smart. It's just the way that I processed information was different. And because of that, everyone outside of me saw it as, well, this kid is a shy dude who can't communicate well. And I learned that if you have like a 10 out of 10 skill, but your communication's a 3 out of 10, other people are going to see your skill as a 3 out of 10. So
True.
I worked on communicating. I worked on the skill of just whatever I say, and I got to be fine with it. And if I make a mistake, it's okay. And from making those mistakes and feeling like they were failures, but keep standing up and kept going, that's where the confidence came from. It was just matching that belief, and through the pain and the fire, finally coming out the other end, being like, I'm Willie, and Willie's a pretty
Yeah.
cool dude.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. I think this just actually stood out for me being that, especially when you say believe matching action, because a whole lot of times, sometimes, especially when it comes to confident and speaking with confidence and communicating very well, it's just it just doesn't mean that a whole lot of those particular skills most time is not learned, is not inborn. It's something you have to earn, being that are consistently showing up, even if you do it wrongly, but still showing up anyway. Over time, things changes and you just discover that what I'm no longer shy anymore and the table has turned and it's really amazing just hearing that from your say or from your own occasion, being that yes, you might be inwardly you know what and what to say, but the fact that your action has not matched your belief, people were actually more like underrating you. And until you start more like speaking up, a whole lot of things change, and it's really amazing.
Yeah, and you start slow. You start with
Yeah,
just what works for you. Literally, I wouldn't tell people nowadays that. Oh, I tell people nowadays, but I wouldn't tell people in the past that I'm just
yeah,
a big. I love Pokemon. Pokemon is one of my favorite things. Love playing Pokemon Go. I would not tell people that before, but it's just been the last 2 years where it's just like that's just part of me. Pokemon, I love Pokemon. I love playing games, but I also love going outside and hanging out and playing with my daughters. And it's just like all these things just revolve around who I am. So now that I just shared one piece and people were like, "Oh, that's cool." It's like, "Okay, maybe I can now share another
yeah,
piece and another." And then it finally gets out to the point where you're just like, "Well, I can just share me and the people who come to me, those are my people. People who don't want me, that's fine. There's 8 billion people in
yeah.
this world. I just need a small group of them to hang out with, and I'm good."
Yeah, so true. Amazing. A lot of people are actually more like feel stuck in overthinking. Why do you think taking small actions is the real breakthrough?
Because it's by the small things that we are prepared for when the big opportunities come. Like if
Mm,
you think about if you were to start driving, you ain't just going to jump in a car and jump on the
yeah,
freeway. You're going to crash and it's going to be bad. But you
yeah,
jump in a car, sometimes in a school parking lot, sometimes it's like your parent in the driver's seat being like, "Hey, it's wide open, just don't hit a pole or don't hit a tree and we're just going to teach you." So you learn how to turn a little bit, you figure out what the gas pedal and the brake is, you learn how to shift it into gear, and over time just those small little things then build up to, well, now I can drive. And that's the
yeah,
same with our career, same with trying to get healthy, same with trying to be able to like start a business or whatever it is. You just start small. You start small. And when you just do one thing every day, small, consistent thing, then it builds up to then being the big thing. And a lot of people overthink. I've been there. Man, I've been there so many times with
yeah.
overthinking. But the
Wow.
overthinking tends to go away when you just pick one and go
Yeah,
with it.
yeah, amazing, amazing. I think they just brought me down to my Conglara's book, which is more like the outliers, and make reference of the fact that 10,000 hours rule. It doesn't speak volumes to the fact that you have to be doing massively in a day. It's more of little consistencies compound over time. The result that comes out from it's a whole lot. And I think as for me too, my first podcast was more like a mess. I could actually more like hardly ask questions. I could actually, in fact, I was telling the girls that please bear with me. This is my first episode. Being that it was a whole lot, and I think the first time I had two guests that I was interviewing at the same time, it was another big issue for me. But now I think it's easier, being that yeah, it's just more of just get it started, and over time things get better. Confidence is built, and a whole lot of things, and you just make reference of it, just speak for them. So tell us about your 2% rule. How can something so small create a big change?
Yeah. 2% rule. 2% rule is taking 2% action every day to get to your goal.
Mm,
So, whatever that goal is that you're aiming for, that's the 100%. Because once you reach it, 100% completion. So, the 2% is just doing, in the basic form of it, small, consistent actions to get there. It's breaking it down to where you're not getting into analysis paralysis and feeling so paralyzed by everything you have to do, but then also big enough to where you get that fire, you get that passion in you to be able to push past into that uncomfortable zone. So 2% action every day. A good
mm,
example of this was when I first started out back in
yeah,
2018 to reading that 12 books. Once I figured out, I'm just like, I want this goal, 12
yeah,
books. Ain't no way I'm doing 50 yet, but we'll stick with 12. So I got a little note card, wrote 1 through 12 on it. And I said, okay, what's my 2% action? Not the wording I used back then, but basically it's just like, okay, what's my next step? Well, the next thing to do is to go pick a book. So I'm like, okay, walk to my bookshelf, grab the smallest book that I could, a little book, little
yeah,
purple book called Rich Dad Poor Dad. And it's like, hey, I picked a book. Most people stop there.
Yeah.
Most people don't even pick a book because there's so many books to choose, but it's just about picking one. So I picked that book. Okay, now what's the next 2%? Well, the next 2% is opening the book and reading chapter 1. So
Amazing.
whatever that
Amazing.
goal is that you're working towards, figure out what is the next small step. If it's trying to get fit, do 10 push-ups. If it's trying to build a business on the side, then start looking at how to create an LLC or learn
Yeah.
how to do sales or something. If it's starting a podcast, it's grabbing your phone, it's hitting record, and you start speaking, right? It's just whatever that next step is.
Yeah,
That's what the
amazing.
2%
Amazing.
rule goes to.
Thank you. Yeah, amazing. I think your story just speaks volumes to the fact that every big goals, every big aspiration starts with small 2% rules every now and then. I think sometimes people actually more like overcomplicate a whole lot of goals, being that they don't go, they didn't analyze their goal down to the bit of looking into it to see what small actions can they do every day to bring into achievement that particular big goals of theirs. Because here you actually have more like the goals of 12 book. You didn't start being anxious about, what, 12? How will I get 12? What size of book will it be? How do I get started? Where should I start? Here you actually went all out and get a book. You say, other persons would have started complacing it. How many pages should I read a day? How do I get started? Just start anyway. Start messy. Start getting it from the end. It's really amazing that you did it and now you are crushing one goals. And yeah, it's really amazing.
I could just do one phrase that you said that nailed it, and I want the listeners to take away from it. Do it messy.
Yeah.
Do it messy. Don't worry about perfection. It's about progress.
Yeah.
But do it messy. I freaking love that phrase.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, I think there was a particular quote that actually helped me in line of that when I get started. It was the fact that let it first begin, then we can make it better. Anytime I actually just overcomplicate a particular goals or a particular thing I'm trying to figure out, I'll just remember the quote that yes, let it first begin, then we can make it better. So that just remove a whole lot of blockage or a whole lot of overthinking over the processes rather than getting the work started. Yeah, amazing. So you also teach our GPS goal method. How does that help someone to gain clarity in their life or career?
Yeah. So super simple. GPS. First is, man, I can't even believe I'm forgetting it right now. It's to get. Okay, I'll come back to the acronym for it. But basically, first thing is you got to know where you're going and where you're at.
Yeah.
So you figure out what that destination is for. This is your dream, your vision, your finish line, the Northern Star, your why, whatever it is, that's what you're aiming for. And once you have that, you figure out where you're at. And now some people, unconsciously, they lie to themselves. A good example of this is if you're walking down the street and someone says, "Hey, how you doing?" You just automatically say, "Good," when you might not be doing good.
Yeah.
Right? So we'd be a little bit more truthful. On the physical side, we say, do we have the energy to carry me throughout the day? Do I have a six-pack? Or do I have a keg and need to lose a little bit of pounds? The financial side, am I making the money that I want? Am I financially independent? Or am I living paycheck to paycheck? Socially, can I carry a conversation? Can I ask questions? Or is it just hard to make things happen? Hard to keep a conversation going? And so when we know where we are at and know where we're going, it's easy for us to then know the direction. So that's G, and I think it stands for get ready. I can't believe I'm forgetting my own method right now.
Yeah.
Then you have P, which P is planet. I know that. Plan space it, not Mercury or Venus or anything, but planet. You make the plan. You take that goal and you reverse engineer it backwards. If you've ever been to a restaurant, they sometimes have those like kid menus when on the kid menus has like a little map on it. Whenever I do that with my kids, I always visualize going from the back to the front. So finally, when I put crayon to paper, I can just do it flawlessly. And that's what we got to do with our goals. We work towards the back and then come forward. So that way we have the plan to then go to the S of it, which is start now. This is where the 2% rule is. This is where consistency happens. So once you do that, You have the G. I can't believe I forgot the G, but you got the
Yeah.
G of knowing where you're going, where you're at. The P of planet, and then the S for starting.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. Looking at, wow, this is really amazing. What is the destination? What is the goal? And then I'll figure out where you are currently right now by planning it and then start. That was really amazing. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
So,
then start.
so for all the people who you have coaches, what mindset trap do you see holding people back the most?
The trap that holds the people I work with back the most usually boils down to their belief in themselves, because they've lived their entire life thinking that they are below average, and they have convinced themselves of that. It's a habit that wherever they're at in the age wise is usually a habit for decades of self-doubt,
Yeah.
of low self-esteem, and just not having the confidence to do it. So whenever I talk with them, we have to break that belief, and it's hard at times because we're breaking a habit that's decades long. The mind doesn't like that. The mind doesn't like things that are uncomfortable. It wants the divots. We're going this one way. This is comfortable. But it comes back to that belief. If you believe in yourself and you believe that you can get where you want, everything else becomes easier.
Believe in yourself. If you believe in what you want, you can actually get to it. Thank you so much, and this has really been amazing. If someone is listening today and wants to move forward but feel scared, what is one step they should take immediately?
It's something that I've learned and been able to name recently, and it's called pick one. Just pick one. The ideas that you have, the actions that you need to take, that to-do list that you might have sitting in the corner of your bed that it seems like you're adding more to that list than taking off. Pick one. Just pick one.
Amazing. Thank you, Willie. Pick one. Pick one. Start with one. Start with one. No need of actually more like bothering and trouble yourself with a whole lot of one. Start with one. Then you figure it out and get started. Yeah, thank you so much. So, Willie, for my audience who want to learn more from you, who want to reach out, and also who want to listen to you being a podcaster, how can they reach out and where is the best platform to you? How can they reach out to you and where is the best platform?
Yeah, best way to do it, go to my website, coachwillieblake.com, and they'll be able to find the links to my socials, the podcast that I have, as well as able to work with me one-on-one if they want. And I have my free resources that I give to amazing listeners like your audience that they can go grab for free.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much, Willie Blake. Your story is a proof that what once felt like a limitation can become the very thing that sets you apart. By choosing actions over overthinking and progress over perfection. He's helping people everywhere build real confidence and momentum. If you want to go deeper into Willie's tools and teaching, you can learn more about his website, which is going to be on the show notes. We thank you for reminding us that we are not broken, we are capable, and we are powerful, and we can start right from where we are. And to actually end this, pick one, start with one. Thank you so much, Willie. It's really a pleasure having you on the show.
Pleasure's mine. Thank you, Arrow.